This video will help you review the activity we did in class called closed reading. So when we're looking at closed reading, we're stopping at sections of the text to reflect and summarize what we are reading. We do this when we want to look closely at a text and gather information to remember later. So it's a great skill to remember what you are reading. We don't do this for everything we read. We only do this for important information. The first thing I'm going to do in my closed reading activity is to divide the text that I'm reading into small chunks. So here I have my first part. I like these discussions where views are debated, so I dug up my facts and I stated, biodiversity. Let me see. That word has lots of good meanings for me. In each of our forests, critters abound, leaf snatchers in treetops, leg bugs aground. They're snacking and burrowing, packing and scurrying. Their lives always changing, it must be quite harrowing. Now after I read the text, I want to go into my left-hand margin here and summarize what I have just read. So here I am seeing that there's lots of critters and that word that I was curious about from when I read the last page, biodiversity, is showing up. So now let's look at the second half of the text. You have to read it first. Cutting the trees send some critters running, but others move in, some cute and some cunning. They munch on the leaves, they grow on the bark, and none loves it more than the pink-spotted lark. A newly cut forest has sun on the ground, and biodiversity leaps and abounds. All kinds of new species move in together, from scales to warts, from fur to feathers. So now I'm going to summarize that section over on my left-hand margin. So I'm seeing that biodiversity comes when we have newly cut forest. And new species come in. Now I'm thinking, understanding that biodiversity, what it all means in the forest. Let's look at those I wonder statements. Now I'm going to ask myself that I wonder questions. What am I curious about? What do I think I see happening that might be similar to something else I know? Okay, so now I'm going to look at this I wonder statement. What am I wondering about after reading these texts? Well, I was wondering if cutting down the trees is a good thing. I'm also wondering about this word biodiversity. Does cutting down the trees and having a new forest really bring about biodiversity? So I'm kind of questioning biodiversity. What does it mean for the forest? Does it really work? And should we really be cutting down the trees? These are the questions that I'm wondering about, and things that I want to keep asking myself as I read through the rest of the text. And they are all going in the right-hand margin. So let's review. In my left-hand margin, I'm going to summarize. After I read this section, I'm going to tell what I discovered in that section. Just some key words written in that left-hand margin that will remind me and sink into my brain about what I have just read. Then on the right side, I'm going to think about I wonder questions. I wonder what this text is telling me. I wonder what questions I still have, what I may need to look up, or what I still want to discover. That I'm going to write again in this right-hand margin section.